Gina, you ready?
Yes.
Beer Board meeting called to order. Roll call, please.
Councilman Gann?
Here.
Councilman McBride? Councilman Harrell?
Here.
Councilman Stamey?
Here.
Councilman Hatmaker?
Here.
Councilman Fair?
Here.
Mayor Burton?
Here. Do I hear a motion for the review and approval of the minutes of the previous meeting?
So second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Under new business, we have a request from Charles Nifong Jr., Capital Retail LLC, Rocky Top Market, number 938, located at 950 Charles G. Severs Boulevard, for a Class B off-premise beer permit. Bambi, you on the phone? Yeah, you might want to put the mic.
She's out.
Can you put the microphone close to you?
This way?
The microphone. Your microphone.
This microphone here.
Oh, okay.
Bambi, are you on the line?
I am.
Okay, this is Mayor Scott Burton, and we're going to talk about the request for your off-premise beer permit at 950 Charles G. Severs Boulevard. I guess some of the concerns we had with the individual that you were recommending had a pretty long criminal history as far as over the last, I guess, 10 years. Can you speak a little bit about that?
I have no idea about that.
Hey, Bambi,
I'm aware.
this is Vice Mayor Zach Farah. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. During the background check in regards to the beer permit application, it has been discovered that a manager at the store has an extensive criminal record that extends from 2003 to 2013. These crimes are drug-related. There's also some crimes of what I would call moral turpitude and veracity. So I, as one voting member, have some concerns about putting someone in a position over alcohol and, quite frankly, even tobacco, when you have extensive criminal history. And I just want to get your thoughts and your opinions on that.
She's worked for us, I want to say in the last 3 years, we've not had any issues of those sorts. But I didn't know about her criminal background.
So you don't do any background checks when you hire?
No, we do drug tests and fill out paperwork, but we don't do background checks. We just did the background checks for the beer board meeting.
Okay. I guess, I don't know, I mean, y'all chime in too, but I don't know. I'm kind of torn with this because really haven't got any direction on this issue, but I don't know is this an issue that we need to take in consideration? I mean, I believe people needs to have their second chances, and it's been 7 years. Does that suffice, or?
Have we ever had this come up before with another background check?
I don't think it's
Another-
extensive.
Have we?
I don't believe so.
Yes, but not this extensive.
When was the latest crime? Was it?
2013.
2013 is the last time.
Hey, Bambi, you said how long has she worked for you guys?
I'm assuming it's been about 5 to 6 years because Lehigh Gas took us over in 2013.
And you haven't had any issues with this employee?
No, none.
Do we know if they've been cited? So if she's been running the store for 5 years, do we know
Right.
if they've been any underage selling, or do we know if they've been previously in any
No,
citations?
none of underage selling while she's been there that I'm aware of.
And wouldn't that be the concern?
Yes.
for a beer board application?
Yeah, I think that's the only
That's the.
Yeah,
one
we do
provider responsibility.
we take that very seriously, and they have to take the alcohol class, the ABC, and we renew it every year.
And so she's been a good employee for you guys the past 5 to 6 years, and the last
Yes, sir.
reported crime that we're aware of was 2013. I guess that kind of
Mhm.
sums it up. Thank you.
Bambi, how often do you see her?
At least every 2 weeks. Sometimes it's every week.
And in those time periods, how many hours of that day would you spend observing her?
3 or 4 hours.
And how many years have you been observing her in that pattern?
2 years.
How often do you drug test, just initially?
Yeah, we do initially, or if there's any issues that we need to.
So during the 2-year period that you observed her from a week to bi-weekly, 3 to 4 hour period, did you develop an opinion on her trustworthiness?
I've not noticed anything weird about her about being on drugs or anything, no.
You have any issues with her showing up to work?
No, she's always at work. She works third shift if she has to, if somebody calls in, and
Does she supervise other employees?
she does.
Have you had any complaints from employees underneath her about her management style?
No.
Knowing what you now know, that she had an extensive drug background from 2003 to 2013, would you still hire her today? Based on what you know now, I mean,
Yeah, it kind of floored me that you gave me that information. Because normally, with those circumstances, it's kind of hard. But people do change, and I mean, it was 2013, so it actually would have went into the hands of our HR.
It's been 7 years.
Mhm.
Anything else?
no, I mean, just other than discussion that.
Okay. Bambi, thank you.
Thank you, Bambi.
You're very welcome.
Speaker.
So you hear a motion for this request?
So we have to have a motion and a second, then we can discuss.
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we accept it. What's the motion? How would I verbalize that?
Well, the.
I
the
move to
host-
approve. How about that?
Motion to approve.
Yeah.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Well, again, I think you made a good point, Zach. I think, what we're really approving is for an off-premise beer permit. So if her character's been good for 7 years, and, and again, I said it earlier, I think everybody's entitled to a second chance, maybe even a third chance. And if that hasn't been an issue, then I think it's our duty to, I don't think I think if we look at it even more, then I think we're crossing our authority on this.
Well, we have a track record. She was been there for 5 years, and I mean, I guess they haven't been cited for selling underage. So we have a proven track record to go by. It's not like we're just giving her a second chance and hoping that she behaves going forward. She's demonstrated through her behavior, and it sounds like she's a model employee, and it sounds like she's accountable. This lady Bambi observes her conduct, has never had a problem with her.
Bambi's shocked that this behavior happened in the
Does
past.
it concern anyone that she was unaware of the history?
Well,
Not really,
I mean,
because given,
Because
you
it's far
know,
enough back.
They bought them out, and she probably was.
She was already there.
She was an employee in place.
Inherited.
One thing, it's Chief Becker who's usually here for these, and talking with him, he wasn't that concerned because we do keep a pretty good close eye on underage sale, and that was the reason he really wasn't concerned, because they will check all our stores, just not this one.
I think to the mayor, Zach's point is, our job is to make sure they don't sell to underage people.
Right.
Who they hire is really their purview, what they do, that we really don't control that, so.
Well, I think it's still a character issue and a trust issue, but again, what we talked about, it's been 7 years.
Her
So-
work ethic seems to illustrate that, at least to this point, she's done well.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Motion to adjourn, Beer Board.
So moved.
Second.
Beer Board's adjourned.
Nose is lit up, is it?
Regular city council meeting. Call to order.
Councilman Gann?
Here.
Councilman McBride? Councilman Harrell?
Here.
Councilman Stamey?
Here.
Councilman Hatmaker?
Here.
Councilman Fair?
Here.
Mayor Gurke?
Here. Do I hear a motion for the approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. This evening, or I guess this afternoon, the prayer will be given by Councilman Gann. And please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Before the prayer, just wanted to ask for a moment of silence for our fellow councilman, Jim McBride. His father passed away last weekend up in Morristown. And I never knew Mr. McBride, but I know his son, and he had to be a good guy. So thoughts and prayers to him and his family.
Our Father, we thank Thee for the blessings of people like Jim's father, who live their lives in great character, live serving their community. We pray that You'd help us to strive to do the same thing, to serve our fellow citizens, to be what You would ask us to be. Help us to do the work of our community in a way that would be pleasing to Thee. Help us to go forward in Thy name, for it's in Thy name we pray. Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Larry. Hear a motion for the review and the approval of the let me start all over again. Hear a motion to approve and review and approval of the minutes of the previous meeting dated April 27th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Communications from the mayor. Only thing, I don't think I made a change on one of the boards that we have. The beautification board, I had to ask Catherine Burbeck to be on that and take the place of Pam Rainey, which Pam was happy to give her slot up. But for Catherine to serve in the same length of time that Pam's term was up. Hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Just a couple of things on the coronavirus. As a county, we're doing fantastic. I think we have 35 that has tested positive. Only 5 are still active. Sad to say we did have one death thus far, and hopefully that's it. But looking at the other parts of the country, we're doing very, very well. Again, for the people who are listening, we follow the governor's direction as far as the state of emergency, what's going to open up, and how and when and all that stuff. So I think we've done very well doing that. I just ask you, as we go on, we're not through with this by a long shot, but again, please be aware to wash your hands, social distancing, and just avoid the large crowds, because until we get a vaccine, we're not really in front of this yet. So, but I think in this area, it's one good thing about living in a small town, small community, that things like this don't hit us as bad as the New Yorks and the Chicagos of the world. So, With that being said, do we have the city school board report? Are we doing any of that, any of the reports on that? They did have a budget. Do you want me to do a budget? Budget number 4?
Yes.
Let me pull that up real quick.
There's nothing on it.
Budget amendment 4?
I got budget 3.
I've got a budget amendment 4, is that right?
Yes.
So budget amendment number 4 is recommended budget number amendment in the GP school fund, reclassifies expenditures to better describe the nature of the CES addition expenditures. No increase or decrease
In,
in expenditures. I think it's just moving columns, right?
They're just changing account codes.
Okay. Here a motion for approval of budget amendment number 4.
So moved.
second,
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Gann?
yes.
Councilman Harrell?
Yes.
Councilman Staines?
Yes.
Hatmaker?
Yes.
Councilman
We
Farrell?
can vote.
Yes.
Mayor Burton?
Yes, budget number 4 passes. Motion on budget number 4 passes. Moving on, Clinton Regional Planning Commission report. Mr. Gann?
The Clinton Regional Planning Commission met on May 11th. Well, first, let's go with the BZA first. The Board of Zoning and Appeals. Ronald Hahn requesting right side setback variance to 5 feet for the property located at 706 Riverbend Road. This is already quite a large structure. It has a couple of very large garage doors along with the house. So, and it takes up the vast majority of the front, at least, of the property there. But there did appear to be room in the back where he could store his boat. So rather than give him a side setback to 5 feet, this was rejected by the Board of Zoning Appeals. Then the Regional Planning Commission on May the 11th, applicant Jerry Shattuck requesting final plat review for property located at 322 Edgewood Circle. This required some certifications and signatures, but it was approved. And then applicant Ty Ballinger requesting final plat review for property located at 251 Harbor Drive. Again, this is a redivision and required some signatures and some statements. And when that was finished, it was approved. Applicant Wade Lovin, MBI Biz Companies requesting final review for property located at 306 Central Street. This was the joining of, Pine Street and Central, I believe, because the city had quit-claimed Central Street. So this would allow the joining of those two streets, and that was approved since council had quit-claimed that several meetings ago. Fourth applicant, Blake Harden, requesting final plat review for property located at 1413 Eagle Bend Drive. That was deferred due to a request from an adjoining property owner who wanted to make some statements and raise some questions about that. So until we could meet together, the Planning Commission decided to defer that for the study before approving or rejecting. Applicant Ken White requesting preliminary PUD site plan review, and that was postponed at the applicant's request till next month. And then applicant number 6, Aspire Foundation requesting site plan review for property located at 125 Yarnell Road. This involved the access road from the highway into the Aspire property. TDOT had expressed some feelings about particularly the part along the highway. So based upon that, the Planning Commission moved to approve the section on Yarnell Road only. Subject, and the other part, subject to TDOT's approval. The Planning Commission also agreed to approve it, again, subject to TDOT approval. So we approved the Yarnell Road section, and the other section is subject to TDOT, and then it already has our approval if TDOT approves it. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Councilman Gann? Thanks, Larry. Can somebody close that door? Thank you, Bill. Clinton Utilities Board report. Councilman Fair.
Clinton Utility Board met May 14th at 5:30, and we had a We met in person, after taking a month away. We have a new board member. We're proud to have on the board, Steve Long, and we think his background's gonna really serve the board well. There wasn't any public, which that's not all that uncommon, but we had made arrangements for them to be there if they showed up, but no one did. We looked at the reports for February and March, and there's been an impact with people losing jobs. And so there's been an effort to work with people with some forbearance and some forgiveness, but the vast majority of people are paying. Even those that are in, a bad situation, we see them going up to the what I call the money wall, where they're making, maybe they have a $60 bill, they just put in 10, or they put in 20, but they're trying to make a payment, and it's just sort of brings you to tears if you think about the compassion and the heart of this community with people that are just good, God-fearing, good working people. But with the impact, the financial impact to CUB, our costs have been offset too. So we're still net positive, even with some of the financial losses, because there was a lot of anticipated costs that we weren't having to do. Probably rolling back to not to say situation normal, but June 8th is when we're targeting to transition away from that forgiveness period and start trying to get people back online. Those that aren't paying you gotta start paying, and then working with them, working out arrangements to make sure that we don't overwhelm them, or we don't hit them with a bill that causes them to have to move. They've accumulated a light bill so expensive that they're like, well, I'll just move as soon as pay it, because that has ramifications that hit landlords and hits, property owners, so we don't want to do that. We took a look at the preliminary capital outlay. General manager and our financial officers, I mean, they got a good finger on the pulse and of where we're at, and so we're going to be very conservative with our capital outlay for sure. Any questions? I probably couldn't
They
answer.
talked about overall usage. Is it, as far as electricity, is it dropped?
Mm-hmm.
Is that, because I'm just thinking more about the industrial parks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of the
That's
profit is.
That's where, yeah.
So, but this is still too early to really determine how that's going to impact.
I didn't get to see the April numbers, but yeah, we know that some of our major plants they cut staff back, some quit, shut down altogether. But as we start to pull out of that, that's gonna be temporary.
Any other questions for Zach? Thanks, Zach. Larry, we have anything under other committee reports?
No, I will mention, I was sitting at home last night watching TV, and Channel 6 had about a 2-minute segment on Green McAdoo and their place in local history, and I was pleased to see that on TV. Had a short interview from past with Joanne Boyce.
Good, thank you. General Government Report, Mr. Houck.
Thank you, Mayor. In order to provide a more current and accurate information for the FY 2021 budget and appropriations ordinance, I would recommend the following schedule for the June City Council meetings. Move the June 22nd meeting to Monday, June 29th at its regular time, 5:30, and on June 22nd, have a budget workshop, whatever time council is comfortable with.
So what was the workshop date? I can't get this, just
Do
22nd?
the workshop on the 22nd instead of city council.
Okay.
And then move council to the 29th. We'll have better sales tax numbers in, local and state, gas tax. We should have some more accurate numbers on the last 3 months by that date.
So first of all, I mean, is the 22nd and the 29th okay with everybody? As far as the date?
I mean, I'm out of town.
So you're going to be out on the
I'm out
22nd?
on the 22nd, I'm back on the 29th.
Okay. Maybe that'd be maybe before you leave on the 22nd, maybe get your thoughts or questions you have to Roger, and talk to him, talk about those during the workshop. So what time's good for you guys that have regular jobs on the 22nd?
Anytime that you tell me.
Time's good for you, Rob?
4 or 5, something like that. Is that too?
Well, I kind of believe personally, I mean, I've always felt this, I think we need to have workshops where everybody can, who wants to attend can be able to attend without having to take off work. So I would think the earliest needs to be at 5 o'clock, but that's just my thoughts. Is that okay with you, Roger?
Yes.
Is that okay?
No problem.
So we need that in a motion?
Yes.
Hear a motion for the regular council meeting on June 29th at the regular time, and then a workshop being on June 22nd at 5 PM. Hear a motion for approval?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Mayor. Status of our government. City Hall reopened last Monday to the public with restricted access. Our community center is still closed, so is the public, and so are all the activities at the community center. Also, parks, playgrounds, and public restrooms remain closed. However, the walking trails and open spaces are open for restricted use. The other thing, we'll have a presentation next month. The Parks and Recreation staff has been working on a reopening plan, which their department's probably been affected by the daily operations more than any. You know, things we're looking at is how we're going to do summer camp this summer. CDC came out with some pretty good guidelines. We're going to try to do some stuff there, but the big thing is the daily operation, especially the community center, is probably going to change pretty dramatically because of right now, school lets out, we'll have 100 kids in our after-school K through 6, but we may have another 300 come down just to hang out, and that's probably going to have to change dramatically. But we are trying to come up with a plan for those older kids, middle school age, to have some structured programs for them. So pretty much it's going to go to a more structured department than just open free play all the time. But we'll have a plan next month that we'll present to us. Also, last week we received, and I sent out an email and press release, we did receive the Phase 2 of the TAP, which is a TDOT grant for downtown improvement. This one covers Market Street, Cullum, and Commerce. Like I said, that is Phase 2. The total grant was $1,234,625. It's a 80-20 grant, so our local match is $205,771. Like I said, that's Phase 2, which Phase 1 was to do Broad to Main and Main to Main to North Hicks. It was a total of $566,000 grant with a local match of $113,000. So both projects could combine is $1,014,587. TDOT has allowed us, which is going to save time and money, to join these two projects together. It's still going to be Phase 1 and 2, but it's going to be one project. That's going to cut down on costs on environmental studies we have to do, and engineering studies, stormwater. So that was a big plus. Right now, construction is not slated to start till July 1, 2022. So we're still a couple years off in engineering.
But this is
still
this is just the Phase 2, it's going to start in 2022.
Phase 1.
Phase 1, then the Phase 2 would be a year later, right?
Well, it's all going to be wrapped into one project now.
So all the 2000, it's going to be 1 and 2. Okay,
Yes.
right? Okay, all right. Good.
Finance, I'll defer to Gail.
You've got your report for April. The state share and the sales tax are not in those numbers. I didn't get those in time. The state shared, I have those, and surprisingly, our state shared sales tax and our gas tax was up slightly. We expected at least some level of decrease. Keep in mind, those are March numbers. But that was good. Don't know yet about the local option sales tax. We've collected 97.7% of our property tax this year. We're actually collected above our revenue estimate, so that's good. So overall, our revenues are okay. We'll see what these next few months bring. Thankfully, we budgeted conservatively on a lot of our estimates, so I'm hoping that we'll still come in very close to budget on the majority of them. Expenditures were okay. I'll give you an example, though, of our interest that we earn on our First Tennessee Bank account. In March, it was over $7,000. In April, it was $300. So, a huge difference in, so we know what the Treasury rate's doing, so.
Any questions for Gail? One question, I know there's been a lot of talk is about more stimulus money coming out and looking at some federal money to support smaller cities and, I guess, counties throughout the country. Have we got any more updates or clarification when and if that's going to happen?
I think the House passed it last Friday.
Was that the 3 trillion, is that part of that 3 trillion that
It's in the Senate right now, which would be a big plus, because we've talked about the budget a little bit. We're expecting quite a bit of a shortfall, but we've also trimmed away as much as we could of the operational budget to still remain at our service level. So if that passed, that would be a plus.
the news services didn't have a very optimistic viewpoint as far as that passing. We'll see. But it'd be nice to know before we finalize our budget for next year where we kind of, hopefully where we
And the further we can
stand.
push that final vote will be better, because what we'll vote on tonight will change quite a bit, new numbers that we get in, which hopefully for the better, not the worse.
At this workshop, what numbers will we have, I guess, it'll be April's?
Yes.
Yes, it'll be
Kinda
April,
have some
April
sort of-
sales.
Have a better grip.
Because when did all this all started, what, middle of March,
March 17th.
17th? Is that your grand opening? So that would be a really good indication, April, and kind of carried into May too, I would say. It's going to be pretty consistent. I don't know if it get much worse. Could. So, we'll have an interesting budget year and discussions, that's for sure.
Thank you, Gail. Police Department, the Police Department has established a fee schedule for certain records, reports, and services that are routinely provided. These fees have not been changed since 1998 and need to be adjusted to reflect current practices. I would therefore recommend adjusting the Police Department's fee service schedule in accordance with the proposed fee schedule dated April 30, 2020.
Hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Another thing I want to bring up tonight, it wasn't initially on my report, which has happened over the weekend. The Glen Alpine Convenience Center sold on Saturday at auction for $70,350. And according to our 2012 agreement, the city is to pay $105,657, which was the overpayment for our sales tax back before 2010. So this means if the property didn't sell for $78,342, the city has to make up the difference, which will be an additional $7,992. However, the county has been working on some ADA improvements along with security issues going into a single entrance of the courthouse. The county mayor has discussed these improvements with me, which include additional handicap parking, sidewalk improvements, demolition of the sidewalk and construction of new ramps, sealing and restriping the entire courthouse parking lot on the Liner Street side, relocating the meters and new signage. I would like authorization to negotiate with the county or county mayor to offset this $7,992 extra that we owe them, to possibly the city staff do this work and these improvements and then not charge them.
Hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Roger, who bought the property?
It was the owners of the
Yeah.
two properties on each side.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, it's a good thing, of course.
Mayor, probably mentioned this, sidewalks are city property, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Any further discussion, questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
That's all I have.
Any questions for Roger?
Do we have any update on the flyover? Are they still working on cost overruns on that?
I think so.
I had a question also, or maybe just a comment. The 80/20 for the two grants we received, I know we've talked to CUB about helping out and being a partner in this, which makes a whole lot of sense. It probably, as we're moving forward, especially in this stage we're in right now, is to get kind of a firm agreement, what they can do and just to have an agreement on both sides moving forward on these grants.
We did, we met, I say myself, Bill, some other staff met with Greg Jones, who's he's the department director over the water department, about a week before our pandemic hit. Had some good discussions. He was going to go back and meet with Greg Fay, and then we were all going to sit down and talk. I talked to Greg Jones a couple of weeks ago, and he said him and Greg had talked briefly, but once all this gets over and we can meet, we'll do that and try to lock some couple different issues down.
Well, I think CUB, we've always partnered well with them, and I think if we just get a commitment, and Zach, you may want to bring this up too at the meeting, is just, I would think, just from a simple standpoint, is we split that 20%, which would probably be $160,000 a piece to do what we need to do on that. I think that'd be, I think it'd be a win-win.
And we work well with CUB, we're working with them on this, we're also working with some improvements on Harbor Drive, some water issues there, so, we were hoping to have some things resolved by now, but it's just the last 8 weeks of do things in a different direction.
Right. Anything else for Roger?
I forgot to ask you, I guess, when you were talking about recreation earlier, they're gonna have summer ball at all for girls, softball, boys, baseball? What's the latest on that?
Right now, we have advised all the leagues, one, they're usually over by Memorial Day, so this is about the time they're ending. A lot of vacations in June, July. We got the fair coming in, which gets the parks for 3 weeks, possibly this year, so that kind of, the kink in that. So what we've advised them, and we told them we'd definitely work with them, to maybe look at a late summer, early fall type league, maybe start at the end of July, August, September. Typically, the weather's better anyway. So we're kind of encouraging them to go that route, and that way at least the entire season this year is not done away with.
Depends on what happens to high school football in the field. Do you think you'll revisit with the Anderson County school system about the remodeling, even if it's next year or the next year?
Well, at this point, it would have to be after this coming season, because you're probably talking 6 months. We've got the plans. We've got it pretty much ready to bid if we had the partnership.
Okay, good, thank you.
Roger, I've gotten several emails from citizens, just concerned that their civil liberties are being violated. And can you kind of just reiterate that, we're at the mercy of the governor, we're not making up our own rules and clinching?
Yeah, pretty much, and the Attorney General actually came out with an opinion 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, that pretty much cities and counties are in the 89 counties that's under his jurisdiction. Any executive order comes out is pretty much new state law, and the Attorney General's opinion was that we could do no less or no more than those executive orders. At one time, the opinion was we could possibly have done more, but we wasn't. We're trying to follow the best we can, understanding them, the executive orders by the governor. He put out some new, I guess it was last Friday, saying he's going to open up some new businesses to 100% this coming Friday, amusement parks, but he has not put out any guidelines yet. So what we're trying to do as staff is they're putting out these guidelines. We're trying to figure out exactly what they mean, then apply them. And of course, we've been very fortunate in Clinton. We've had no issues.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, Roger. Under ordinances and resolutions, first reading of new ordinances. Ordinance number 650. This is for the 2020-2021 budget. Hear a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Keep in mind, this is probably more for the viewers. It takes 2 readings to pass an ordinance. So probably not a lot of discussion this first time around. Have a lot more discussion the second time around. So, but we need to have this approved tonight in order to hit our end of June passing of a budget. So That being said, roll call, please.
Councilman Gann?
Yes.
Councilman Harrell?
Yes.
Councilman Stamey?
Yes.
Councilman Hatmaker?
Yes.
Councilman Fair?
Yes.
Mayor Burton?
Yes, ordinance number 650 passes on first of the second reading, first of two readings, I should say. Any old business before us?
Roger, update on the pool. I've read some different things in the paper, just kind of a thumbnail sketch.
And I've talked to some of the media. Last summer, and we talked about the last meeting, last summer towards the end of the year, we were losing about 10,000 gallons a week. And of course, we couldn't get it pressure tested and everything till we closed down. That was done. We got the findings, I guess, late February, early March, that we had, some leaks in the plumbing system that was last replaced in 1985. And we also had some issues with the liner. It was a 10-year liner that we put in 2002, so we got our use out of it. So we had some issues. That's the main reason we're not closing this year. We were planned on applying for an LPRF grant that was announced early March. It was going to be available to at least apply for it 1st of April. They put that whole grant program on pause. The repair price just to redo the pool as it is today and repair everything was $342,000. So we can figure out what we're going to do. You know, there've been talks, and we'll ask the Recreation Advisory Board to get involved. A lot of cities, due to the fact the numbers are going down in participation, are changing their pools over to splash pad. For our pool, 10, 15 years ago, 275, 300 was an average number. The last couple of years, like last year, it was 2 years ago, it was like 65, 70. Last year, we kept a really good eye on it. It was 60 participants a day, which means we lost probably 20,000 over the season. So we got some stuff to look at. Now, I was asked by the WISH the other day, did the coronavirus have any play into that also? It didn't for us, but I know the state parks and talking with North Dam several times, they were doing everything they could to open theirs, but the governor came out, I want to think a couple of Tuesdays ago, maybe last Tuesday, told them just due to several issues with locker rooms, lifeguards having to put hands on people, not to open, so they're staying shut. I know Oak Ridge Pool is working a very limited schedule. They will try to open theirs, have it open for 2 or 3 hours, close down, clean, open back up, but a very limited number of people. And so it's a big issue there.
Well, I think what we're trying to do too, because I get on Facebook and hear some of the complaints is going down to 60 a day average attendance. I mean, I think we could bring something else in there that's going to be much more attractive, and hopefully we can get back up to 300, 400 people. So it might be a part of a splash pad that offers something for any age child. It could be a combination of the two. So I think our goal is to bring something in to replace what the pool used to be from a draw standpoint.
I talked to a gentleman a couple Sundays morning, Food City early. We both went early so we could avoid the crowds. He was pool manager back in the 70s and early 80s, and he told me, he said, Roger, there was some days there would be 450, 500, especially on the weekend, and that was Coach Taylor, and I think Coach Taylor's pretty good for his word. So if we've dropped down, 25 years ago that we had 500, now we have 60. I mean, that's a pretty significant drop in usage.
Only thing I ask, and I know we always try to use state money on these things, but, I don't want this to get dragged on for 2 or 3, 4 years. We need to get a resolution on it and work towards doing that.
We've got some plans ready to go. We're just waiting for them to re-announce, and I don't think we've got anything yet on that. But that's definitely a good route to go because it pays for 50% of it.
What's some of the price tags on a combo splash pad, little pool, or?
We haven't really looked at that. I mean, we've looked at more the splash pad because the operational cost is considerably less. Right now, if we open the pool, we have to have 5 lifeguards and a pool manager. No matter if because it's managed, or the guards are dictated by the size of the pool. So if we have 1 person in the pool, we have to have 3 lifeguards on the stand. So that's a big cost to the employees of it. If we do just a splash pad, 1 attendant up there could probably handle it. So we'd go from 1 to 6. If you still do a combination, you could probably do a smaller pool and put that number down to 3 employees. But that's something we haven't looked at yet.
Any other old business? New business? Everyone stay safe. Means adjourned. I wouldn't just do it.
Roger,